Hey, good day, everybody. All right, so we're going to get into week two slides for human resources, guys. Again, this is going to be very easy theory-based stuff. So, as long as you guys have a good understanding of it, you should be good for the exam and the quizzes and stuff like that. All right, so we're talking about business performance management. What is business performance management? We're going to talk a little bit about what it is, where it came from, stuff like that. So, it's the act of setting corporate goals, monitoring the methods used to achieve those goals, and then creating ways for managers to more effectively achieve those goals. Kind of simple, right? Um, Basically, you're just doing an analysis. So, by collecting and analyzing data, a company can determine what effects managerial changes had on performance and then alter those changes to help create a more effective process. The idea of business performance management is a broad concept, but it's best used to analyze specific goals and help a company to save on operating costs while generating more revenue at the same time. The important thing to remember about business performance management is that it is used to improve the performance of personnel and management. Okay, so instead of working on fixing a process or an operation or a supply chain issue, whatever, business performance management is used to improve the performance of personnel and management. So, for example, if a company is having issues with their salespeople, why their salespeople aren't selling enough, or why the salespeople are demotivated, and whatever the case may be, they'll do a business performance management review, and basically they're going to analyze the managers and the sales managers and all the people who are controlling the salespeople and trying to see what is it that they're doing wrong that is not um, motivating these employees to work harder and make more money, right, for the company. So what are the main activities of business performance management? Okay, there's three primary main activities, which means selection of goals, consolidation, and intervention. Each works with each other to help create a more efficient process. It's a dynamic system where each activity affects the other and they are all working together to help develop better business processes. So what do you mean when I say selection of goals? So the selection of goals is an ongoing process that can be altered by the results that are achieved through intervention. The best place to start with any business performance management program is to set corporate goals and then determine the policies and methods that will be used to achieve those goals. So let's just say that you're selling heavy equipment. The, for the business process management, what you want to do is you want to set up the goals first. What are our goals for this company? It could be sales goals, it could be whatever. Once the program is underway, the effect that changes have on the process is to alter the goals. If a managerial decision helped to increase productivity, it may be necessary to enhance the goal. The point of the goal is to give management a measuring stick to use when it comes to determining success. So basically, you put these goals together. Let's say you're looking to hit $2 million in sales for heavy equipment this year. Those are the goals. Now, what are you going to do to implement those goals? So information monitoring. The second activity involved in business process management is information monitoring, also known as information consolidation. This is the part of the process where the data is gathered and the pertinent data is analyzed and used to develop a better way to do business. The list of metrics used to create the data varies by company and by project, but the data becomes a critical part of the performance management process. So in this situation, so now you set the goals and now you have to gather the data, right? In order to make a wise decision, a solid decision. In order to figure out what's really going on, you have to gather information of what's happening in the company. And for example, we'll take the example of the heavy equipment. We can continue with that. So your salespeople, you're trying to make them sell more, make them happier, increase their motivation, increase their hard work. So now you're trying to gather the information. So basically, what you can do is you can have a lot of one-on-one chats with the individuals, try to figure out, hey, you know, what's really happening, gather all the information. They can tell you, hey, you know what, we don't feel like we're getting treated well, or we don't have enough incentive to want to sell more, or our salary is too low, we want a higher salary, we want higher commission, stuff like that. So you gather the information. And then managerial adjustments. So once you have the data, you have the management staff reviews it and decides what to do to increase efficiency and profitability. Um, these changes are chartered and the effects they have go back into the information monitoring activity. It is critical that the adjustments made reflect the goals of the company. This can be tricky because the goals are not always financial. So sometimes, let's just say, you have the equipment right now. You're not looking at your employees. You're not looking at, okay, how much are they selling? You're looking at why are they so upset all the time? Why are they so sad? All that. So you're trying to make a better corporate culture. That could be one of your goals, not to make more money, but to increase the corporate culture so that you attract better talent. So then you could use that information to um, try and help that situation. So, for example, if their goal is to improve employee job satisfaction, like we were just talking about, by 20%, then the actions taken by management will not necessarily require a financial consideration. So, management is going to want to, um, instead of trying to motivate employees to sell more, they're going to try to do some more like team building things. Like, hey, let's try to figure out what everyone likes to do. Okay, let's go jet skiing, or let's take a boat out, let's take a yacht out, let's have some fun, let's just do some stuff and make people want to be here, right? Okay, so what is an HR evaluation practices? Okay, so evaluations are a mechanism to provide feedback and documentation about an employee's performance through a defined time period and can provide clear communication of job expectations and goals. Performance evaluations also can serve as a constructive tool that assists mentoring employees on areas of employee development and improvement. Okay, so basically, you are trying to, um, what you're really trying to do is you're trying to monitor an employee's performance, basically. So what are the HR evaluation objectives? So the objectives are provide employees with feedback to improve or maintain job performance, right? One, identify areas for employee development, set performance standards and goals for the next review period, recognize job-related accomplishments, enhance communication and working relationships. So basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a, they're trying to set the bar, right? They're trying to set the bar for each employee. They want the employees to feel like they have goals that what the one advice that I've received in my life, which has been circulating around a lot of wealthy people, which I've heard from, I've listened to a lot of talks. The key to happiness in life is setting goals and achieving those goals. The key to true happiness. So a lot of people, they want to. They said, I wish I had all the money in the world so I could just travel and do all that. Let's say, okay, fine, you have all the money in the world. You travel, right? You travel all across the world. It took you 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You come home after 5 years traveling the world. Now what? Right? You just accomplished your goal, right? All your goals have been, and you're elevated. You feel amazing. Let's say you're at home, a year goes by, now what? There really isn't much to keep you motivated and keep you happy. So what people, what very successful, happy, wealthy people tend to do is keep on setting new goals to achieve those goals. And once you achieve those goals, that's where true happiness comes from. So this is basically what HR evaluation is trying to do. Their objectives are to try and keep people motivated, keep them happy, keep them working, keep them improving, stuff like that, right? So that's basically what they're doing. Enhance communication, working relationships, all that stuff to keep them motivated. So there are types of evaluations. Um, the first evaluation is annual evaluations, and there's probationary evaluations, and then special human evaluations. So annual evaluations, like we're very familiar with that. They happen once a year, and they are evaluations that are done on employees once a year. Every year, the employee sits down with HR and says, "Hey, what can you do better? What can I do better?" Blah blah, blah stuff like that. Probationary evaluations cover the probationary period when an employee begins a new position. So basically, it's 6 months long. After 6 months, they will do a probationary evaluation, saying, "Oh, 6 months later, you've done really well. We'd like you to stay on for the rest of your however long you want to stay on for the indefinite future." Special evaluations could be based on like projects or special events or um, whatever it is. So special evaluations, it could be for anything, right? So special evaluations are more like project based and stuff like that. Okay, so they give you evaluation based on projects you completed and all that stuff. Okay, let's talk about the evolution of human resources management. How did it start? Where did it go? Stuff like that. So before the 1900s, there was tough work and tougher conditions. So the idea of a connection between worker well-being and their productivity emerged between 1890 and 1920. Guys, this is really interesting stuff, right? When you read this and you understand how this stuff came about, it's really interesting. So American business leaders, aided by scholars and politicians, embraced industrial betterment and embarked on plans to stabilize the labor force and encourage employee loyalty. To carry out the somewhat circuitous practices of the time, departments called industrial welfare and scientific management. Okay, so back then, industrial welfare and scientific management were created. So basically, the main takeaway from the pre-1900s is workers need to be treated as people, not as expendable resources by the company. And it's extremely important for companies to treat their employees like they're um, like they're people, like they're assets, like they're something that should be cared for and taken care of, instead of being treated like they're some sort of usable asset where they can dispensable asset where they can just find more. And, they're humans at the end of the day. So treat humans more like humans. So from the 1920s to the 1950s, human resource management. So lucky for us, being humans, the workplace began to change with the realization that workers were not puppets on a string, but people with emotional and psychological needs. Wow, that is so amazing. How did we not, you know, this, like, how do you not know that? Like, it's just, how do you figure that out? It's amazing, right? Like, people are human, people are emotional, people have emotions, they have needs, they have wants. Oh my God, really? They're not all just freaking animals? Like, some people back in the day were just so stupid. Personnel departments and manpower developments increased their efforts around internal training and working with labor unions to develop stronger compensation packages, right? So now they're getting better compensation packages. Human capital became synonymous with the knowledge an individual embodies in affecting economic growth. So basically, the main takeaway is when employees have opportunities to learn on the job and be compensated fairly for their efforts, they become more valuable to the organization. Okay, so in 1920s, 1950s, they're giving employees a lot more compensation, which makes them want to work harder and become more valuable, put more time and effort into the company. So, the 1960s to 1980s, early 60s, the U.S. legislature began passing fairer employment practices such as the Equal Pay Act of 1963 and Civil Rights Act of 1964. Blah, blah, blah. Organizational management and industrial psychology contributed to HR paying more attention to employees' need for achievement, advancement, and recognition by matching the nature of work itself with a person's skills and interests. Um, the main takeaway: workers need certain rights to be considered for a job. They also need the psychological motivators and autonomy for work. Okay. So basically, in this situation, they're treating people more and more, as you can see, more and more like humans, right? So they're trying to, instead of just offering someone a job with pay, they're also looking at psychological motivators, how to make people feel like they're more autonomous, right? Like make them feel like more they're not working for a company, but they are working with a company. They are part of the company. They're the reason why things happen in the company. So you kind of have to give some people that feeling, right, of entitlement, and which helps people, humans, work harder and become better at what they're doing. And then from 1990s to 2010s right now into what we are right now into the current year. Um, New emerging technology has shifted the focus from personnel management and administrative tasks. Today's HR departments, at least a forward-thinking one, spread their energies managing employee engagement and strengthening culture. So HR departments these days, the ones who are up to date, are working on employee engagement, which means having employees work harder and be more, take a more initiative in the company policies and what's happening in the company, and want to they feel like they're part of the company, like a family. And strengthening culture means having everybody work together in sync and being happy being together. They're also charged with managing employees themselves to increase the odds they're happy at work and will continue to stick around for the foreseeable future. So they're trying to make employees happy and keep their talent instead of having their talent run away from them. Through the decades, the workforce evolved from labor-based to service-focused, requiring HR to shift from process-centric function to a worker-centric function. Understanding the needs, wants, and motivations of a diverse and multi-general workforce has led HR to attract and retain high performers, but battle for the top talent has accelerated. Guys, exactly what I'm saying, right? Companies now are fighting each other. HR departments are doing the most to try and keep real talent with them, right? A lot of these companies are losing big talent, big names, and extremely hardworking and productive, right? Productive individuals because their lack of their evolution of HRM, right? Their work culture and everything is just there's things that are off, and some high talent doesn't want to go there. They want to go to a place where they're respected and they feel like this place is high class. So the main takeaway is human resource management responsibilities reach far beyond administrative and compliance accountabilities now. Having a strategic understanding of the business climate, position to recruit, hire the best employees, while keeping the highest levels of organization. Okay, so that's basically what's happening in the 2010s. So what's the future for HR leaders? What does the future look like? So tomorrow's HR leaders will need to be bigger, broader thinkers, and they'll have to be tech savvy and nimble enough to deal with an increasingly agile and restless workforce. So as we can see right now, the amount of people that wants to own their own businesses is increasing every single day. Workers are kind of seen as like a kind of like a dying breed, if you will. Not a dying, but slowly getting to that point where people are just not wanting to just don't want to work for anybody. So if you're gonna have a company, you need people to work for you. You're gonna need to have you need to be tech savvy and strong enough to deal with increasing people wanting more and more and more, right? So wanting different things. They don't want to work for a company anymore. So you have to deal with all that stuff. So the future of HRM is really leading towards that. Leaders who understand HR's enormous value in the workplace will have a unique big picture view from both the company perspective and employee perspective. Okay, now lastly, what can we do to improve human resource management? So first, embrace technology and analytics, right? Of course, you have to use analytics because there's, companies have so many different workers, so many different people, all that stuff. Having analytics would help differentiate different groups. Just makes things a lot easier, obviously, with working with a computer versus working with just pen and paper and stuff like that. So embrace technology and analytics. Understand employees' life stage, right? So you kind of have to understand what's going on in an employee's life. So, for example, if someone just became a new parent, you'll see that they will have, depending on if it's a female or male, their personality and their work kind of changes, right? Because they have something new happening in their life. So yeah, understanding stuff like that. Human resource management should change your mindset. It's important for marketing HR executives to lead the charge towards a meaningful partnership. So human resource management is changing, and HR leaders need to transform the perceived administrative roles to positions of innovation. So instead of just doing the administrative stuff, where it's just black and white, oh, this happened, that happened, you kind of have to continue improving, right? You have to change your mindset and continue evolving. This is extremely important, right? This is for everybody in life. As a human, you don't want to be reactive. You want to be proactive. What's the difference? When something happens, you have to react to it. Before something happens, if if you react to something before it happens, or you plan for something before it happens, saying, hey, you know what, all this stuff's going on, I think that's going to happen. Let's become proactive. So that's where you're proactive, right? So you're foreseeing what's about to happen versus dealing with what already happened. So proactive, from reactive to proactive. A lot of old school people love the reactive. My company's name is Reaction Distributing. So we, I always thought about it. I'm like, reaction and reacting to stuff is good, but it was called proactive distributing. Proactive, proactive distributing would have been a lot more forward thinking versus reaction distributing. It's like in stocks, right? You you shouldn't. A real hedge fund manager doesn't buy and sell based off what happened, based off reactions in the market. They they analyze first. I think this is going to go up. I think this is going to go up because this. Buy that stock. Or you know what? I think this is going to go up because this is happening. Sell that stock. A lot of people start selling and buying once it really goes up. Oh, start buying. Oh, sell it once it starts going down, down, down. Right? That's reactive. Spend time on your employer brand message. So to improve HRM, basically, you're supposed to you have to spend a lot of time trying to convince the public that you are the right company and what you do and whatever you stand for is the correct thing, and people should want to work for you. So obviously marketing your way in a way, your marketing team should work on creating an image for your company that attracts top talent. So that's basically it, guys. That's the end of the slides for week 2. It's fairly easy stuff, and I'll see you guys in class. All right, see ya.